Hey guys, so on the 25th of January next week, Total War Pharaoh will get a free DLC that adds a brand new culture, the Sea Peoples. And as someone who has always been interested in playing as the Sea Peoples in a game that covers the Bronze Age collapse, this just does not excite me. Now, don't get me wrong, raiding and pillaging sounds great, doing this in the Bronze Age sounds great, 37 new units for free sounds like a lot, and the two new playable factions with their mechanics CA is adding to the game is a great step forward. But none of this addresses any of the issues I and many thousands of other people had about the game, especially in my review when it first came out, lacking big cultures like Assyria, lacking a sense of realism, gritty, brutal warfare that we had in older historical games in the series, and others. This is just not really enough. In fact, if anything, High Tides is a step towards the more unknown and mythical areas of the Bronze Age collapse, rather than the more realistic and well-documented direction they could have taken by adding in cultures in Mesopotamia, Assyria, Babylon, etc., instead of adding in an intricate and detailed trading system that affects everyone. We're getting horde mechanics. Not my cup of tea personally, but it's nice to see an option where you don't have to hoard around the map until there's nothing left. So today, I want to run through the trailer that was just released and have a look at the updated Pharaoh Frequently Asked Questions page that actually goes into a lot more detail about the new factions and some of their new mechanics. So let's dive straight in.
My Pharaoh, your humble servant before you.
Right, so this is the first major thing. The narration of the trailer is based on the Amarna letters, which are grounded, proper. These are real correspondence that the Pharaoh of Egypt received, warning him of the collapse of civilization, of kingdoms that he is trading with, losing their cities, cities burning to the ground, people starving, dying, kings losing their lands, and they can't stop this unrelenting force, this threat, this elusive threats that's destroying everything, right? And the Pharaoh of Egypt receives this and he starts preparing for the invasion, the coming war. So it's a very cool little text. Love that this kind of narration for the trailer is being inspired by it. So just a very interesting little historical tidbit here.
Kemet is overrun. They sweep in like the tide, flooding.
So this part of the trailer really, it doesn't piss me off. It's disappointing because previous historical games like Rome 2, Attila, TOB, did coastal invasions so well. Like you could have a fleet of ships invade and attack a beachhead, disembark their troops, attack a front line of defending enemy kind of like, formations and have this really chaotic ensuing battle that it's just really cool. It's really well done. You see these ships in the distance, they come, they disembark, they start attacking. This could have been done so well in Pharaoh. Maybe we didn't have a lot of evidence for naval battles at this time, but the Sea Peoples came and invaded via the sea onto these beaches. So it would have been really, really fun to have specific battle styles that had this kind of invasion, beachhead, you defending your kingdom. Maybe you're waiting for reinforcements to arrive. You need to fend them off, but and if you do, great, they're cast back into the sea, and if you don't, you're kind of overwhelmed, and the Sea People's army continues inland, razing and pillaging your outposts and cities. Could have been done so well, but it's totally missed opportunity here.
Our lands. The north.
So this is the first faction leader. I think this is the Sheren, which I don't remember the faction leader's name now, but he's inspired by a comrade mythologically of Hercules. And you can see the kind of, Greek inspirations here, the shield especially. It's a really cool, interesting little inspiration. Again, kind of like, right, there's a theory they came from kind of Greek, kind of like migrating tribes, right? And this is one of the marauding factions that you'll be able to play as.
North is pillaged, left in ashes, and the fire rages at our borders.
And then this is the second faction leader. This faction is Peliset. I think they're the kind of inspiration behind the theory of some of the migrating or all of the migrating sea peoples could have come from southern Italy, from Sardinia, and migrated across the Mediterranean to form a new kingdom, which the theory is they formed Philistine, essentially, the Philistines. And, there's there's a couple deities that are Etruscan, so there's some Etruscan influence here in this faction as well. So yeah, this is our second faction in this update. So Eola starts around Adana. Adana in modern-day Turkey is a southeastern area of Anatolia. It's a city there. So yeah, I'm guessing if you play as this faction, you start off in southwestern Anatolia and making your way east on land. You're not quite a sea people. You're kind of like a marauding army taking advantage of the chaos that is happening around this part of civilization.
My Pharaoh, I beseech you.
So you get new outposts, Nomad outposts. I'm going to be pausing this trailer all over the place because the information is very, very quick.
Your lands have been...
You've got war spoils, so this, again, I mean, it gives me kind of like surface mechanics is going to get boring after one campaign, kind of, new mechanic. You've got, depending on how many maybe cities you've raised, you get rewards over time. If you raise 6 cities within the 10 turn time limit, you've got a higher chance of getting a unique piece of equipment, or you've got more kind of like potential resources to loot and pillage from the cities that you're going after. Or maybe it's kind of like you're looking specifically for gold, right? Find the closest city that's producing the most gold kind of thing. So that's kind of what I'm getting for this. Cool. It's just kind of like narrowing down your potential for min-maxing your rewards, essentially.
Deserted. Lost are all the lords.
So you got a little bribe mechanic here as well. So as this faction, maybe as the other one as well, you get to bribe certain units that you want to take from the enemy army onto your side and even out the odds a little bit.
Taken in by the tide or left dead on the rocks.
We've got new paths. Okay, they're a little blurry here now, but Path of the Marauder, Path of the Sea Peoples, essentially, more buffs and rewards depending on how you want to play, your play style. Sheren being the kind of like Marauder faction, Peliset, the Sea Peoples faction. And yeah, either you're a horde or you want to settle into new lands. And yeah, you get, various buffs to outposts and new raiders and crafts and all sorts of stuff. Yay.
They are unrelenting and unpredictable.
There's this little mechanic here. I've seen speculation that this is naval battles coming to Pharaoh, but I don't think it is. It looks to me like, depending on whether you go Sheren or Peliset, you want to either form a new kingdom or destroy the world, right? So the horizontal line to me with the kind of house figure is more geared towards Peliset, forming a new kingdom. You get more, less upkeep for your army, more resource production, or basically buffs towards whatever play style you want to go for, again, and various production of resources to spend getting these buffs.
As the waters that spawned them.
We've got new deities. Yeah, Taruna, I think, is a kind of like reference to a faction, a tribe of Western Anatolia. I don't remember the rest of these, but essentially, yeah, kind of deities from these kind of Greek or Italian, Etruscan inspired deities as well. We've got the classic Pharaoh blobbing, chariots not doing too much, unresponsive, other chariots charging in that I don't know if they're going to be very effective. I don't know. I'm very kind of speculative about whether chariots are all that effective and whether they're that functional. But yeah, we've got chariots here. We've got new chariots, actually. I think these are the oxen chariots. So on the right side, at least, they're definitely oxen chariots. They come in and drop off infantry behind enemy lines that can then flank in and attack from behind. So interesting little new style of unit there with big chariots that can drop off troops essentially.
My Pharaoh, this is my final plea. I am situated like a ship in the midst of the sea. The lands of the king are in ashes. The king has no lands. All is lost.
Yeah, so high tide. It's coming next week. That's it's cool. Let's have a look at the fact page really quickly. So let's see if there's any other info here that we can gather from the fact page. Peliset on the warpath. Sheren only strive to destroy and sacrifice. Sacrifice. Interesting little word there. So deity related, I'm sure. Burn, plunder, threaten, yada yada yada, all stuff we know. Dismountable oxen cart infantry chariot. So that's that unit I was talking about. That can flank around, drop off troops. This is going to be interesting because I haven't really seen this in Total War before. It'll be interesting to see how many troops you get per chariot on max unit size. So just kind of throwing this out there. If you got like 16 chariots per unit, 5 people per chariot, 3 can disembark behind enemy lines. That's about 70, 80 individuals, if my math is not wrong, that you can drop off and that can then charge into the backs of the enemy front lines. Which could be quite effective, quite cool, especially if they've got really good weaponry. Chariots are usually a bit more higher tier units, so they could have better equipment, maybe flanking bonuses. Interesting little thing there. I think it kind of almost resolves the fact that, you know, when you use chariots, chariots get stuck very easily. Whereas with these units, you can use chariots to cycle charge and drop off some people, run away, and then you don't need to charge again. And they've kind of done their jobs. Maybe they have like ranged equipment to fire from afar. So yeah, dismountable chariot units. We also have Nurahe warriors, specialist infantry, shock troops. We've got sulfur-tipped arrows for certain archer units, and we've got harpooners, which have upskilled themselves on the journey over killing fish, and now they want to throw their harpoons at people. Yay. Cool. And then, yeah, we've got the traditions we've already talked about. All the factions are going to be have access to these traditions, which I just don't get at all. I don't see the design motivation, intention there. War spoils we've gone over. Thrive in chaos. So pillars of civilization mechanic will get updated so that sea peoples benefit them. Okay, cool, fine. Native pantheon to wherever they're coming from, and local deities. Warriors, refuge, outpost to recruit native units and random units as well. So yeah, lots of cool little interesting new things, royal decrees, traits, titles, ancillaries that are being added in that we're going to probably find out more next week before the release. And yeah, I mean, overall, as I said in the beginning of the video, I'm not that excited about this. I've always wanted to play a Sea People's faction, but you know, just as with the rest of Pharaoh, there are plenty of foundational issues. I think with the game, the scope, the mechanics don't have a lot of depth. I don't think the units are all that interesting. I think the dismountable chariot units are definitely a new style that I'm interested to find out more about, and their play styles and their function on the battlefield. But otherwise, yeah, I'm not filled with excitement here. I think that Pharaoh has plenty of other issues that really need to be fixed before approaching this mythological direction almost with these cultures. They could have done a lot more that's grounded in reality, that add a lot more meaningful gameplay to the game, but that's not happened. So yeah, essentially that's my thought, my impressions of this trailer, of the gameplay we've seen so far within this trailer. And that's it for today, guys. I just wanted to make this video to essentially review it a little bit and give you my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed it and found it informative. If you did, give it a like and drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you think about this new free expansion coming to Pharaoh next week, and if you'll be trying it out, and if not, why? And yeah, so apart from that, subscribe to the channel for more Total War content just like this, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.